everybody, I know it's been close to 3 weeks since I made my last video on YouTube, but this is not the video that I was not expected to make. It's Friday, and you know what that means. Something is gonna happen in professional wrestling. Yes, SmackDown is on tonight, and it's gonna be the final night before SummerSlam, which is tomorrow night. Eventually, that's not the case of what I'm going to talk about today. Today, I'll be talking about what's gonna happen at AEW Rampage, which is going to happen in Chicago, United Center, which is going to hold 20,000 plus people attending the show, expecting what's going to happen, that none of us are going to disappoint. Now, for those of you who often tune into AEW Dynamite every week, you'll probably remember when Tony Schiavone announced that AEW Rampage is coming to United Center, which is in Chicago, Illinois, and everybody in the arena chanted CM Punk, CM Punk, CM Punk, CM Punk. And afterwards, you see Darby Allin cut an awesome promo where he announced that he wants to challenge the best in the world, in which most likely we will see him facing off against the best in the world at All Out. I mean, could you imagine these two men wrestle in an awesome 5-star match? I mean, what's the point of watching an hour show of Rampage when none of the surprises happen? I mean, come on. People are gonna turn on AEW if nothing is gonna happen. But you know what? I'm looking at the cards. First off, we got Jurassic Express versus Private Party for the contendership of the tag team titles. Well, technically, this is the semifinals, and whoever wins gets to move on to the finals, and the winner of the finals will move on to face the Young Bucks at All Out. And now you get a second match, Jade Cargill versus Kiera Hogan. And for those of you who watch AEW, we all know that Jade Cargill is going to win this match. She's going to become the uprising female wrestler in the women's division. We got a main event, Jon Moxley versus Daniel Garcia, who we don't know who Daniel Garcia is until recently. And as we all know, well, this match card that we have, it's not even as hype as what we wanted. Just imagine this. Jon Moxley wins the match, 2.0 comes out and attack him and Eddie Kingston. Out comes Darby Allin and Sting makes the save. And now, Cult of Personality song hits. CM Punk shows up face to face with Darby Allin. I mean, you could see those amount of people who used to watch wrestling up until CM Punk left WWE for good, and they just lost hope of watching pro wrestling. 7 years later, there are amount of people who have changed, and they just simply don't care about wrestling. Although you see those type of wrestling fans who care a lot about CM Punk, but the thing is, does their opinion change after the fact that they learned when CM Punk lost 2 UFC fights that could hurt CM Punk's momentum in returning to pro wrestling? That's something that I want to know. I mean, let's face it, CM Punk hasn't wrestled for 7 years, and he won't have a ring rust because he's still at a young age of 42. Compared to Christian Cage, who also hasn't wrestled for 7 years, and he came back to pro wrestling when he joined AEW. Now, look where he's at. He's currently holding the TNA Impact World Heavyweight Championship. Yeah, it's called the Forbidden Door. But let's face it, Christian Cage hasn't wrestled for 7 years, and he's still got it though. I mean, unlike Goldberg, which I wouldn't want to start an argument, hasn't wrestled for over 10 years, and all of a sudden, he gets to wrestle one time only. But no, he gets to have a title shot in which he couldn't handle to wrestle in less than 5 minutes. Okay, honestly, I don't want to talk about wrestlers wrestling at their old age, but moving on. And I know full well that CM Punk is not the only big name who will show up at AEW. Another names like Bryan Danielson, formerly known as Daniel Bryan, who's going to show up at Dynamite on September 22nd, and it's going to happen in New York City. And I know full well that this man, known to use the Final Countdown theme music, which is why everyone's gonna sing the Final Countdown in New York, and we could see Bryan Danielson and CM Punk in the same ring in AEW. I mean, could you imagine the 4 pillars of honors, or should I say the Mount Rushmore of honors OG to AEW? Bryan Danielson, CM Punk, Eddie Kingston, and somebody like Chris Hero, Christopher Daniels, or Frankie Kazarian teaming up in AEW. And the question is, will it gain the popularity for AEW? Guess we'll find out. Will CM Punk's AEW debut could hurt WWE's momentum? Of course not. How many times has WWE mentioned on a program? Of course, you see John Cena cutting a promo mentioning about CM Punk on SmackDown, and you see WWE upload full matches about CM Punk versus John Cena, CM Punk versus blah blah blah, and you see the time when Roman Reigns recently shoots on CM Punk where he thinks, oh, CM Punk is not on the same level as The Rock or John Cena, but arguably that's his opinion. But yeah, since CM Punk is going to make his debut in AEW, most likely for WWE, they could bring back Becky Lynch to SummerSlam tomorrow night. Most likely, but hopefully. Of course, it's been over a year since Becky Lynch was on a WWE program when she announced that she's going to take a hiatus due to pregnancy. It's been like about 8 months since she had a baby. I bet this is the right time at a right moment for her to return, since the audience is back, despite the fact that we are still in a pandemic era and we are trying to get everybody vaccinated as soon as possible. I mean, let's face it, it's most likely that everybody's going to say that CM Punk's AEW debut is going to be such a big deal as Becky Lynch's WWE return at SummerSlam. I mean, let's face it. When the crowd is not enjoying Raw Women's title match featuring Nikki ASH versus Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley, everyone could be chanting random things, especially CM Punk, CM Punk. All of a sudden, Becky Lynch theme music hits, everyone went wild and starts forgetting about things that they have been chanting. Think about that. But yeah, that's all I have for today. For those of you who are going to tune in AEW Rampage, hope you enjoy. And for those of you who are going to tune in to SummerSlam tomorrow night, I hope you all enjoy the show. Especially for me, I will be watching SummerSlam as well. So thank you all for watching and hope to see you again in the next one. Hey, did you watch the video? If you did, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe for more content. Just a reminder, make sure to tap the little bell so you don't want to miss the latest content on YouTube. Alrighty then, as always, stay safe, peace, and good day.